Good morning and welcome to the stream. My name is Dennis Hofe. I'm an Agile coach right now, but whatever I am, I've been doing quite a lot around Agile in the last 10 years. And today I would like to talk about Scrum because it's something you probably have heard quite a lot already. And if you're not into rugby, you probably have no clue what this word is actually about. And maybe there's time to understand where it's coming from, and maybe that helps a little bit to, let's say, demystify it a bit, because there's nothing really fancy about it or very special. It is very simple. And let's take a look. As always, Wikipedia was my friend, and this time I mentioned these two guys also in another video I've been doing. There are two, you could say, founders of Scrum, or of the Agile method. And yeah, it's Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland, but it's also a couple of guys called Hirotaka Takeuchi and Ikujiro Nonaka. So these guys wrote back in the 80s a document, and it's called the New Product Development Game. And basically has the subtitle "Stop Running the Relay Race and Take Up Rugby." And this is their analogy in their eyes, when maybe because it's the way we had supply chains up, but it's also the way they observed how, say, certain companies were interlapping with their phases or not overlapping with the phases in their product development. That they observed, okay, you have, let's say, a design phase, a test phase, a production phase, whatever, but these phases were quite distinct and had sort of quality gates in between, and whatever they had, what they didn't have was overlap. And when they observed how a company should be doing it, or when they sort of defined how a company should be doing it, one of the core elements was that these phases would overlap between the different production states. And they compared this then to rugby, where you have, let's say, how did they put it? In today's fast-paced, fiercely competitive world of commercial new product development, speed and flexibility are essential, blah, 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 blah. Instead, companies in Japan and the United States are using a holistic method. As in rugby, the ball gets passed within the team as it moves as a unit up the field. And that's more or less it already, yeah? So you have quite a few sorry guys, I have to do something here. Yeah, that's better, maybe without the fake numbers there. So at the end of the day, we look at a team of people who are tightly interlinked, who are huddling. Yeah, and I think this is to some extent why Scrum was then used as a term, because it can't get more tight than in this Scrum position or play part of the rugby game. But the whole rugby analogy comes actually from this very early paper. When I read this paper, by the way, I wasn't really aware. I mean, I was aware that Scrum was not started, or Agile, in software development. I mean, that's pretty clear. Also, these two people here, Takeuchi and Nonaka, they haven't invented this stuff. They have observed how certain companies are already working, and these companies have been doing this for decades. Yeah. So some of the elements they are seeing essential for future product development companies were already embedded in the late 19th century into Toyota, and how they did the loom, or how they were weaving new carpets or pieces of cloth. So it's the whole thing never really started off with or was designed for software development. It was a way to produce products, or to do new, not produce, but to create new products which haven't been existing before. Yeah. So why am I saying it like this? If you have a product, let's take this bottle over here, and you are producing a second bottle and a third bottle and a thousandth bottle, this is production lane. Yeah, there's a completely different methodology around how to optimize such a production process. But when you want to invent a new bottle, yeah, which has maybe certain aspects, it can hold up to 800 milliliters, it is adjustable, or you can plug it into a holder within any bicycle. Yeah, so you have maybe some crazy requirements. It should work on the moon. And it should be black, and this is all you know. And you start to develop the first prototype of it, and it's maybe too heavy, or it's too cold, or the outside, or it doesn't keep the temperature, or whatever it is you figure out as you're doing the product development, what things work, what things don't work. And some stuff you know, of course, as you're maybe a professional bottle maker, but other things really depend on your client, and some of the functional and non-functional requirements he just becomes aware of in the point in time when he sees the product the first time. Yeah, so Scrum, at the end of the day, as to explain the term, is simply stemming out of this rugby analogy these two guys were using. When it comes to Scrum as a framework or methodology, that is completely a different video. I'll produce it shortly. But if you have tuned in here to understand what Scrum is, it is just a famous method or a famous framework alongside a few others which we're having in order to orchestrate or organize a structured product development into a structured process on the one hand, which leaves a lot of empty canvas, a lot of freedom for the individual team in order to find their best approach to product development. It was more or less founded in the late 80s based on this document a little bit, and some other things Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schreiber did. And there's somewhere another video of mine, I might put it into the comments, where where I did discuss when you would choose which method. There are tons of methods out there, and if you're using them in your company already, then you might know Kanban or Scrumban or Lean or other approaches, which are all belonging more or less to the Agile family. Okay, this was all I wanted to say today. I said there will be another video coming up, which will describe really what Scrum is, not the word itself, but really the framework. And until then, I wish you a wonderful